Shalom. All praises to the Heavenly Father, Anguilla. Praise be to the earthly mother, the Pachamama, and all of her earthly angels, the Yashaya. Praise be to the Holy Spirit, the Kaheh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Motsah the Lamb, unification to the nation. Oh my goodness, guys, I've been pretty busy today. I've been working on this right here, this little map, and I was not able to finish it. I was hoping to do a video on this, but so I'll just give you a little bit of an update on the things that I think I found. Sorry, my computer's gonna move pretty slow for this lesson, but I believe Bethel is in northern Mexico. We've gone over Samaria and how I believe that is Cholula. Hamath, we've gone over that, Lebanon. So these are pretty much just the places that we've already gone over, but I've updated this quite a bit. So I can't wait to, do a whole video on this, have the Bible right next side to side with the map, and then, we can have a good conversation. That's not what this video was about. We are on part 4, and we are going to be talking about the Assyrians, the Chaldeans, the Tocharians, Japheth. So, in the last video, we spoke on the Carrion, right? And how they're showing that the Carrions came to South America, then from there spread to the rest of the world, right? And they're saying, of course, this is a white dude, he's saying that the quote-unquote Negroes, they didn't come from Mu, they came from somewhere else, and the Carrions came from Mu. And of course it's flipped around. We came from Mu. They came from the caves of Central Europe. And when you read the books of remembrance, you realize that Japheth never got on the boat. He stayed in Central Europe, or Asia I should say, not Europe. He stayed in Western Asia, in the Caucasus region. He stayed with the sea line of Cain. And then afterwards, he came over here. But he never came from Mu. I don't know what that's about. So we're gonna get on this, man. Again, my computer's gonna run slow for this lesson. I was letting you know I got so many tabs open, and this is not even all the tabs. I have other tabs open, so it's slowing down my computer, but it's not much I could do. So, Carrion, relating to or other characteristics of Caria, an ancient region of southwestern Asia Minor. A native or inhabitant of Caria, an ancient region of southwestern Asia Minor. Okay, so that's what a Carrion is, and now you know where Caria is. It is in this area, and if you don't know where this is Turkey. Now, what did we go over in part 2? That the Tower of Babel was in this area of Turkey, right? The land of Shinar. Let's continue. The Carians were the ancient inhabitants of Caria in the southwestern Anatolia, and you can see this right here, right? That's where they were. Where do we go over where Aki's people, where they were? They're around this area. This is pretty much the area of the tower. This is where they were enslaving people, which is really just most of that area. Now, this is a Carrion Soldier, right? Look at how he looks. I want you to remember this face. Go back if you don't remember, because I'm going to mention this again. It is not clear when the Carrions enter into history. Oh, so we already know that they're trying to hide something, because they know when they entered, but they don't know how it fits into their narrative. The definition is dependent on the corresponding Caria and the Carians to the Karkaya or Karkaisa mentioned in the Hittite records. So we're not going to go through all this. I don't think I have a choice though. I don't think I have a choice because my computer froze. So we'll just keep reading. Bronze Age Karkaisa are first mentioned as having aided the Assyria League against the Hittite king. I ain't saying any names. Let's move down. The relationship between the Bronze Age Karkaya and the Karkaisa and the Iron Age Caria and the Carians is complicated, despite having Western Anatolia as common ground, but the uncertainties regarding the exact location of the former on the map within Hittite geography. Yet the superstition is suitable from a linguistic point of view, given that the Phoenicians were calling them KRK in their Abjad script, and they were referred to as Krka in Old Persian. The Carians next appear in the records of the early centuries of the first. Wow, you finally moved. Of the first millennium BC. Homer's writing about the golden armor or ornaments of the Carrion captain Nats, the brother of this dude right here, the son of Nomoron, reflects the reputation of Carrion wealth that may have preceded the Greek Dark Ages, and thus recalled an oral tradition. In some translations of biblical texts, the Carians are mentioned in 2 Kings. And this word, it means like fat sheep or goat, contextually noble or honored, and perhaps alluded to in 2 Samuel, probably unrelated to the T, maybe the Cretans. They are also named as mercenaries in inscriptions found in ancient Egypt and Nubia, dated to the reigns of this person. They are sometimes referred to as the Kari or Kari. Carrion remains have been found in the ancient city of Persepolis, or modern this place in Iraq. And then they're also connected to Artaxerxes, and there's something interesting about the connection between this area, the Greeks and the Assyrians, the Hittites. Again, remember, you've seen this look before. And they're called the Carians. Okay. Alright, let's hope this loads quickly. Let me see if there's anything we can get from this. Nah, let's go to the next one. The Carrion language was an Anatolian language spoken in the southwest of Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, up to about the 1st century AD. It was probably a descendant of the Luwian language and was closely related to Lydian. The Carrion alphabet appears in about 100 pieces of graffiti inscriptions left by Carrion mercenaries who served in Egypt. A number of clay tablets, coins, and monumental inscriptions have also been found. It was possibly derived from the Phoenician alphabet. The decipherment of the Carrion alphabet was started in the 1960s by this dude. So they seem like they seem like they're Canaanites, honestly, or they're connected with Canaan or the Phoenicians, right? But they're also highly connected with the Assyrians, right? the quote-unquote Egyptians, whatever place that was, they were mercenaries. Sounds like Canaan to me, or a mixture of Canaan. Let's keep flowing. And again, this is the map of where it's located. I don't know why I had this up. I'm just going to wait for it to load. And we'll move to the next one. By the way, these are the Lydians right here. These are in Turkey. I don't think they're talking about Lydia, like North Africa. Oh. Never mind. I was looking at stuff. Nothing there. Let's keep flowing. Caria and the Carrions are mentioned for the first time in the cuneiform texts of the old Assyrian and Hittite empires between 1800 and 1200, I'm guessing BC. The country was called Karkisa. The people are absent from the Egyptian texts of this age. Oh, so that's why they think that they're young, or that they're not necessarily the same as the Chaldeans, or right, or the Assyrians. Like, they're just a separate group of people because it's not in their Egyptian text. That's interesting. After a gap of some 4 centuries in which they are mentioned only once, the first to mention the Carrions is the legendary Greek poet Homer. In the catalog of ships, he tells that they lived in Miletus on the Mykel Peninsula along the river Meander. In the Trojan War, they had, according to the poet, sided with the Trojans. Let's move down. Well, I guess I have to move down that much. This is a remarkable piece of information because in Homer's days, Miletus was considered a Greek town. The fact that it is called Carrion indicates that the catalog of ships contains some very old information. In the 5th century, the Greeks thought that the Carians had arrived in Caria from the islands of the Ionian Seas, whereas the Carians claimed to be indigenous. Homer confirms their story. It is also confirmed by modern linguistics. The Carrion language belongs to the Anatolian branch of the Indo-European languages. It is related to Luwian, Lycian, and Lydian. The language is spoken to the southeast and north of Caria. Had the Carians arrived in their country from the west, their language would have been closer to Greek. It seems that the Greeks settled on the coast in the Dark Ages between 12 and 800, AD, where they and the Carians mixed. According to the Greek researcher Herodotus, the inhabitants of Miletus spoke Greek with a Carrion accent. Interesting stuff. Let's keep going. In fact, let me close out some of these tabs because this is really slowing down my computer. Alright, and we're back. Hopefully this is better. So, I'm serious. Remember how this dude looked, man. Remember this look because it looks important. Oh man. This computer freezing again. Alright. So we have Chaldea or Chaldea, right? I think I was supposed to have something else open. Yeah. So Chaldea or Chaldea was a historical region located in the mountainous interior of the eastern Black Sea, northeast Anatolia, modern Turkey. Its name was derived from a people called the Chaldoi or Chaldeans that inhabited the region in antiquity. Chaldea was used throughout the Byzantine period and was established as a formal theme known as the theme of Chaldea by 840. During the late Middle Ages, it formed the core of the empire of Trebizond until its fall to the Ottoman Empire in 1461. Where's my music, bro? This stuff gotta stop, man. Stop lagging on me. Come on, man. Whatever, let's just keep reading. Alright, let's see. No, I don't want to go over anything more. I really have to choose how much information I speak on because I could go into a whole rabbit hole with this stuff, and I'm really just trying to make some connections. The main sources for the history of the Chaldoi, and we just said that these are the same people related to the people of Chaldea, and they were around during antiquity, right? So these were an old people who were in this area of Turkey. But look at this. In Roman times, the Chaldea, homonymous, but unrelated to the Semitic Chaldeans. And I looked that up, looked up the word. This is dreadful, man. The word means having the same designation of, relating to, or being homonymous, or being homonyms. Excuse me. So they're saying it's homonymous, but it's unrelated to the Semitic Chaldeans, right? So these same people, right? The Chaldeans. What were they called before? I already forgot. Not the Chaldeans. How did I forget? How did I forget, man? The Carrion. I'm sorry. See, the Carrions and the people of Chaldea, they both come from the same place, both around from antiquity, right? But they also have a lot of confusion and mystery as to where these people came from, right? So the Chaldea or the Chaldea and the Carrions, are they the same people? Something to ask. The Carrions did come to South America, as it seems, at an early period and enslave the people. So of course they're not going to tell you that the Carrions are the people of Chaldea or Chaldea, and the people of Chaldea are the Assyrians, are the Chaldeans. Let me get this music working. Am I on? Okay. It looks like this video is not going to be as long because, yeah, not only can I not get any tunes to play. There was a video I wanted to show you guys, but it's not loading. It's just not. So I'm going to have to leave it in the description. But this is what I wanted to share, because this was a good explanation of the Assyrians versus the Chaldeans. Because the Assyrians and the Chaldeans are pretty much the same damn people. they're the same people, pretty much. But what is the difference? The difference is that the Assyrians were in northern Mesopotamia, and the Chaldeans were in central to southern Mesopotamia. And you can interpret that to the Assyrians were in North America, and the Chaldeans were in South America. The Assyrians were in North America and Upper Mexico. Right? That's the difference. And you'll see that, and I believe I did a video on the fact that Sargon's palace is in San Diego. So yeah, the Assyrians were in those lands for a very long time. Now, of course, Aram is most likely in South America, but as far as what they call Upper Mesopotamia, that was probably Mexico, California, in that area. Let's see what else we got. Because this is very good. I'm going to leave this in the description. This is good research. Because this person had me thinking, Mount Ararat or Uru-Rat? Is that in South America? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see what we got here. The Gypies or the Chaldoi were a people of classic antiquity who inhabited the area of Pontus. Now we went over Pontus, right? Pontus. That's the Tower of Babel. That's Shinar. Located in modern Turkey, they lived on the northern area of Anatolia, known as Chaldea. Moving down, they also were known as people who traded steel, right? Tempered iron or steel. Chaldea, was a marshy land located in southeastern Mesopotamia, which came to rule Babylon briefly. Tribes of Semitic, and we're gonna get into that word and how do they define what a Semite is? Tribes of Semite travelers who arrived in the region from the 10th century BC became known as the Chaldeans or the Chaldees. The Hebrew Bible used the term Kasdim, and this is translated as Chaldeans in the Septuagint. Let me see. Let's just read this. Though belonging to the same Semitic ethnic group, they are to be differentiated from the Armenian stock. And the Assyrian king Sennacherib, for example, is careful in his inscriptions to distinguish them. When they came to possess the whole of southern Mesopotamia, the name Chaldean became synonymous with Babylonian, particularly to the Greeks and Jews. In the Hebrew Bible, the prophet Abraham is stated to have originally been from Ur of the Chaldees, Kasdim. If this city is to be identified with the Sumerian Ur, it would be within the original Chaldean homeland south of the Euphrates. Although Chaldeans were not extant in Mesopotamia at the time of Abraham. What is extant? I don't know what that means. On the other hand, the traditional identification with a site in Assyria would then apply the later sense of Babylonia, And a few interpreters have additionally tried to identify Abraham's birthplace with Chaldea, or I guess they mean Turkey, a distinct region in Asia Minor on the Black Sea. According to the Book of Jubilees, Kasdim, and Chaldea took their name from and Kesed, descendants of Arphaxad. No, he's not a descendant of Arphaxad. This is what the sons of Japheth have done. They want to be us so badly. They want to be us so badly, man. And it even says here, in Aramaic, he's called Caldo or Caldo. O and U are pretty much the same sound. When you really think about it, O and U are the same sound. So now this is going to lead us to something very interesting, because they said that they're descendants of Arphaxad. No, they are not. No, they are not. In fact, let me go to this right now so I can show you what I mean. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. And all those who heard Ozan were glad for news of Sheari. And I know that Sheari is a son of Melchizedek, and one named Chaldu, who was the father of the Chaldeans, named Sheari Arphaxad. So the person named Chaldu, who was the father of the Assyrians, named Sheari Arphaxad. Moving along. And long after Sheari departed from the temporal world, there arose a man named Chaldu, and he was a descendant from a group of slaves who were left behind by the masters of Seku when they gathered into the valleys of Halia. And he was the son of one called Kesed. See, what did we just read? But he wasn't a son of Arphaxad. No, who was a descendant of Japheth or Japheth after he became a master of Seku. And he was an overseer of slaves himself. And it was Chaldu who moved in upon the people of Sheari and caused his own people to corrupt themselves by once again holding slaves. And the people of Sheari were thus set in bondage and became servants of the Chaldeans. And Abraham himself was thus a slave who would later escape into the north country, where the old encampment of Noah was. And the people of Abraham kept the idol houses of the Chaldeans. And what became of the Urim, I don't know. Okay. So what else we got? And the people of Sheari were called the people of Ummah. And in the times that followed the flood, a people called the Chaldeans set upon them and took possession of their land and made the people of Ummah their slaves. And the Chaldeans called Sheari Arphaxad according to the manner of their own language. So the reason why this is very important, because it pretty much patches up things and it makes things make sense. This is like the glue that holds things together. But we're going to get into some references. Let's see what we got here. What pages that I want to look in this book. Because this person, they speak a lot on what we're about to speak on, which is the Tocharians. And that sounds similar to the Carrions, right? The Tocharians and the Carrions. What did the people of Chaldu do? What did the Chaldeans do? They enslaved the people of Ur. Let me see. Come on, you're gonna freeze too? So now the Carrions were another group of people who came from Turkey and also came to South America. They were also merchants, and they have pretty much the exact same name as the Chaldeans, but somehow they're not the same people. That don't sound right. Doesn't sound right at all. Even what that dude said, I understand. Like, he's saying that they might be different people. Okay, they might be different people, but they're of the same stock, the same group of people. You can have a different culture and be looked at as two different people. You know, that happens among even us today. People think that they're a whole different quote unquote race or whatever based on their language alone, let alone their culture. Can this just work for a second? Please? Oh, 59, that was the page. Okay. Tochari returned to Europe from Asia was called Celtic Invasion. As a whole, the 4th and 3rd century BC was a time of great exile of Tochari in all three directions, south, east, and west. Some Tochari moved west, the frontier remained in the Caucasus Mountains. The rest went further west and spread all over Europe, Austria, Saxony, Bavaria, which included Moravia and Bohemia, now the Czech Republic, Switzerland, northern France, Belgium, Holland, Scotland, and also Scandinavia, northern Italy, southern France, northern Spain, and Ireland. The last move to Scotland and Ireland happened somewhere between 250 and 220 BC. Indeed, ancient German sources claim that Proto-Bulgarians, Balks, and Bactria settled in southeast of Germany 3 centuries before Christ. The first king of Saxony was Baldur. Therefore, the Saxons were a branch of the Balks. Let me see. Some Tochari moved south to Hindu Kush. So, I guess this is a reference to the quote-unquote Aryans. Right? Now, let me see where I want to go to. Who were the ancient Tochari? The Tochari are one of the oldest tribes on earth. They're descendants of Japheth, a son of Noah, mixed with Aryans. See that? They're Japheth mixed with Aryans. Now, who are the Aryans? We got to do a full case study on that, man. Full case study. What I believe they are, I believe that they're a mixture between the people of Lud and Canaan. That's what I believe the Aryans are. But we're going to do a full study on that. Even a portion of what we learn during a lifetime genetically transferred to the next generation. It should matter how long a tribe has been on earth, and it does. It is not by chance that Jews and Bulgarians have the highest intelligence scores in the world. What? They are descendants of the oldest tribes. Their children develop faster, mature faster, and have the highest IQ. Really. I have a lot of things I can say, but I'm just not going to say. Because, whatever. Actions speak louder than words. Hungarians have the highest number of Nobel Prize. Oh, this writer is a fool. They're descendants of Japheth, son of Noah, just as Bulgarians, Celts, and Welsh are. In this chapter, we have made a world tour trying to follow the moves of the Tochari and the rest of the descendants of Japheth, who in ancient times spoke Chimerian. As said in Volume 1, Tocharian is the daughter language of the Chimerian, Sumerian, and Sanskrit is the daughter of the language of Tocharian. We have seen the languages of many countries being influenced by the Tocharian language. Let us reiterate. The Tocharian is one of the world's major languages. Daughter languages of Tocharian are ancient Bulgarian, Armenian, Indian, Persian, Iraqi, Pakistani, Afghanistani, Korean, Japanese, Gaelic, almost all European languages, and the languages of Northern and Southern America. See Maria Kuman, mounds and pyramids, who built them. Okay, let's get to the next reference. Point being, Japheth, if they're not the Tocharians, they have a very, very strong connection with them. Trying to navigate with a really laggy computer is not fun. Doing videos is fun, but this ain't too fun. But I can't complain, man. I guess my Raja Chola video is gonna have to wait. I guess until tomorrow or next week. Probably next week. I'm probably gonna try to answer emails tomorrow. Alright, let's see. The Tochari in Middle Asia after the Black Sea flood. The Tochari lived in Middle Asia for almost 5,000 years. Their first empire, Media, included the Pamars Mountains, Hindu Kush, where the Hindus still live, Indus Valley, most of the Ganges Valley, Tibet, Himalayas. Yo, you are hijack central, bro. You're just everybody. Like, what? Come on, man. And the contemporary Chinese deserts, Takla, Makan, Kuman, and Alashan. The presence of Tochari in Middle Asia was confirmed by many archaeological findings of Anders, Hidden, Mark Earl, and other people who I don't really care about. Let's see. Anders Hedin, of Celtic origin, was digging in the desert of Takla, Makan, and searching for a lost ancient city in 1896, where he stumbled upon a forest of dead tree stumps protruding through the sand. At the edge of the forest, he found walls of reeds plastered over with clay. The polished interior walls were painted with colorful murals depicting women and men kneeled in prayer. The men had thick beards and mustaches. They were clearly Caucasians, not Chinese. The pictures included sailing boats on a vast inland lake. Further digging revealed docks for the boats. Most probably the villages had been built around an existing lake. When the Chinese were drilling for oil in the Takla Makan desert, the drilling and the air photos proved that once the desert was a huge lake, which gradually dried out. Where was I? I moved down a lot and I lost my spot. Let me see. So, Caucasian mummies in the desert of Middle Asia. The Tarim Basin, which consisted of the Kumam and Takla Makan deserts. Point 3 on the map, preserved well the naturally dried corpses of inhabitants of an earlier time. Among the mummies was a perfectly preserved woman exhumed by a crew of Chinese archaeologists in 1985. The mummy had a colorful blouse, skirt, leggings, boots, hat, and jewelry. She was almost 6 feet tall. Do you know how tall 6 feet is for a woman? You're a monster, bro. You're a monster. She was almost 6 feet tall, age approximately 58. She had a European or Caucasian features, narrow nose, deep set eyes, and blonde hair. The time of these inhabitants was determined as 1000 BC. Therefore, the Takla Makan and Kuman deserts were still inhabited by the Caucasian-looking Tochari, descendants of Noah, in 1000 BC. Caucasian-looking, naturally dried mummies were found recently in other settlements of these deserts. Man, I'm not the one pushing this stuff, man. Like, some of these people know and they're proud of it, but they just think that they're, you know, they're Shemites. At least this person is admitting that they're Japheth. Let's keep moving. The Tocharians were speakers of the Tocharian languages, Indo-European languages, known from around 76,000 documents, or 7,600 documents from around 400 to 1200 AD, found on the northern edge of the Tarim Basin. The name Tocharian was given to these languages in the early 20th century by scholars who identified their speakers with a people known in ancient Greek as the Tochari, or Tocharoi, who inhabited Bactria from the 2nd century BC. This identification is generally considered erroneous, but the name Tocharian remains the most common term for the languages and their speakers. Their actual ethnic name is unknown, although they may have referred to themselves as Ugni, Kusi, and Kororin. Sounds very similar to the Carians or Carrions, right? Sounds pretty similar. Let's keep flowing. Now this is a lot of different stuff. I'm also going to leave this in the description because it will show you a ton of stuff that you need to see, man. Artemis from Francis Vase, Greek pottery, 4th century BC. Archaeological Museum, Florence, is represented wearing a similar but more stylized pattern on her clothes as the one above. Is this it? But notice this is Greek Japheth stuff. This is some Greek Japheth stuff, man. Let's get into this because this is a pretty good explanation. Who are the Tocharian peoples? The Tocharians were a fascinating ancient Indo-European speaking people living in the westernmost China and parts of Central Asia. They were part of the district Tocharian branch, an own branch of the Indo-European family. They later got replaced and assimilated by Mongoloid Turkic people, later known as the Ungurs. Thus, Tocharian ancestry lives on in several modern Ungurs. The Tocharians themselves had noteworthy East Asian ancestry and cannot be said to be identical with Europeans, as some early Western scholars claimed. Interesting. So these people weren't necessarily, the same type of Scandinavian white, but, they were pretty similar. Like, they look like this pretty much. I don't even know how to describe this. They just look like Middle Eastern, Turkish, mixed people. I don't know. They were an ancient and very interesting people, but they nearly completely vanished. Nevertheless, the modern Ungurs of the Tarim region have some Tocharian ancestry. Now some information about the Tocharians and their culture. The Tocharians are and were a distinct Indo-European people living in western China, mostly around and within the Tarim Basin in modern-day southern Xinjiang. They migrated there from the Yamnaya region of the Pontic Caspian steppe. They are genetically very close to the Yamnaya, which formed from Caucasus hunter-gatherers and ancient northern Eurasians. The Yamni were dark-haired, dark-eyed, and had light skin color, but moderately darker than modern Europeans. Again, these are descendants of Japheth. Shem, Ham, and Japheth were all melanated. You could be light-skinned and be melanated, but they didn't they didn't look like this. That's a mixture, bro. We didn't have pink, no one had pink skin. The people who had pink skin were the people who came out red, like Esau or Javan. Those are the people who had pink skin. So, another thing I'm leaving in the description, because these are all of these early quote-unquote Asian people. These are the people of Canaan / Japheth, the Amorites. And when the Bible talks about these different quote-unquote Canaanites, it's not always talking about people who descend from Canaan. It could be talking about people who are living with Canaan, trading with Canaan. What do we just read? That there were mercenaries and traders and traded silver and, not silver, steel and iron. Sounds like the Phoenicians. These were the world traders, the maritime peoples before we got on the scene and took over the operation during the time of Solomon. But before then, that's what these people were doing. That's why you see them on all of the ancient cultures everywhere. Because they came out of being enslaved, and they, not knowing how to do anything else, enslaved other people. I said a long time ago that these people don't have the mindset of kings. They have the mindset of slaves, because they have the mindset of scarcity. They always need to rob from somebody. They need to be over someone. Otherwise, they don't feel secure. It's the same thing. And these were the people. Now, you can see Asia was a mixed stock of people. What do you see here? You see people who look like Mr. Popo. Real black with big red lips. And then you have some people, who look like straight up Europeans with red hair. Some of these black people have red hair. Is this Canaan and Japheth? I don't know. Is this the people of Jared and Japheth? Jared and Canaan? I don't know, dude. But what I do know, these people were in this area of northern India. And they have something to do with the Aryans who invaded India. And not really even invaded them, because when you really dig deep, it seems like they didn't really even invade. They just kind of came there. But you can see that these people, they look very odd. They almost look like a quarter Asian and 3/4 European. That type of look. Look at these people. See, some of these people have knotty hair, as you can obviously see. But this will be in the description, but you can see that these people kind of look like white people. Alright, let's continue. I don't know what we got left. I'm trying to think. I don't want to miss anything. Peering at the Tocharians through language, a window to the ancient Europoid folk of Western China. And I've shown this picture many times before, but the Europoid type Tarim mummies found in Xinjiang, China, dating back to around this time. The Tocharians are described as having full beards, red or blonde hair, deep-set blue or green eyes, and high noses with no sign of decline, as attested in Chinese sources for nearly a millennia. The mummies, particularly the early ones, are frequently associated with the presence of the Indo-European Tocharian languages in the Tarim Basin, although Mallory and Mayer attribute the later mummies to the Iranian Saka Scythian people who later who settled later in the western part of the basin. So there were a few different invasions and settlements that occurred. What do Englishmen, Sicilians, Spaniards, Bengalis, herds, all these places, they're pretty much trying to say that they all come from a mother tongue of some Indo-European mother tongue, which is not necessarily wrong, but is not correct either. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into that. See, I told you, with this information, you can go into a whole different rabbit hole. I'm just trying to really make the connection between these group of people and what we just read in the book of Remembrance with the Chaldeans. I just find it very odd that these are not the same people. Right? It's like something has to give. These people seem to be from Japheth. The Chaldeans are from Japheth. The Chaldeans enslaved the whole damn world. And these people, these Indo-Europeans, seem to have enslaved the whole world. But they just did it at different, probably different times. In different parts of the world. These people, or the Carrions, came to South America at a very early time. The Chaldeans also came to South America at a very early time. All these different giant bones, because we just read that this person was incredibly tall. All these different giant bones that were found here. Are these the giants? How did they make themselves into giants? Are these Canaanites? Are these just Japheth? Just people from Japheth? Are they both? Is there a method to make yourself a giant? We just have a lot more questions. But this is why this video is also important. It's a video that I shared a while ago. And now we're going to be able to add some perspective to this. I just really hope they don't copyright me. Let me up. Let me see if I can find this point.
Many of the megalithic structures found in their lands were built by the giants, but their belief in giants was not only based on the megalithic structures, but on the bones of the giants. In the mid-16th century, 168 Spanish conquistadors led by Francisco Pizarro.
I don't think you guys are even able to hear this. I'll just tell you what he's saying when it's important.
But what they did not expect to find were the bones of colossal giants.
So they found
discovered all over the land.
Giants everywhere. Bones of giants everywhere.
One of the most detailed accounts of giants in Peru was written by renowned conquistador and chronicler Pedro Cieza de Leon, who recorded a popular caveman so large peninsula of Santa Elena, which was once part of the province of Peru, but now belongs to Ecuador. The legends tell of a tribe of evil giants that came from the sea riding on large boats made of reeds. The natives say that the giants...
So, they just said that these people came on boats made of reeds. What did we go over in the video that I just released earlier today? That the Chaldeans, that they also use reed boats. Right? And they came to them over there, like they invaded them at that point on the Pacific coast of Peru. Right? What do we just see in that map of Mu? That the Carrions came to South America from the Pacific. Right?
were so large that a man of common stature measured only up to their knees.
So, on average, a man measured up to their knees. On average. That's how big that these people were.
The natives relate what they have heard from their fathers.
The natives relate what they have heard from their fathers, that from over the sea, in large boats made of reeds, came men so large that a man of common body proportion measured only up to their knees, though he be of good stature.
That from over the sea in large boats made of reeds, though he be of good form, that it was a monstrous thing to see them.
And that their sexual members conformed to the greatness of their bodies. Oh man, I hate reading this. Which were so deformed that it was a monstrous thing to see their heads, accordingly large, and their hair, which reached down to their backs.
Point out that their eyes were as big as small plates.
They point out that their eyes were as big as small plates. They affirmed that they did not have beards, and that some of them came dressed in animal skins, while others were in their natural clothes, naked, and that they did not bring women with them. So the point about them not having beards, that is interesting, because it did say that the Tocharians had beards. But then again, the person also mentioned that sometimes people confuse the very early Tocharians with another group, a group that came from Iran, who also had red hair and pretty much look like them, but are not necessarily the oldest people. So something to note.
They affirmed that they did not have beards.
Oh, and by the way, don't you see all of these different ancient... Oh, look, in fact, let's look that up real quick. Come on, man. Alright. Blue-eyed statues. This is all over the world for a reason, man. They invaded the whole world. These blue-eyed white people, these blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people, or these red-haired, green-eyed white people, they invaded the whole world, man. They made people worship them. They enslaved people. Oh, man, I forgot. My bad. There's a reason why I told you guys to remember this picture, right? Because you know what this looks like? I'm going to tell you as soon as I figure it out. Figure this out, I mean. Don't tell me they closed out. Give me 1 second. Alright, so we're in Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids. I still gotta make a PDF of this book. I got so many books I need to make PDFs of. I've been slacking. Admittedly, I've been slacking. Now check this out. They see startlingly Semitic features found throughout Mesoamerica. They're saying this is a Semitic feature. But what did we just read? The people of the Chaldeans and the Assyrians, they're obviously related in some sort of way. In fact, they're damn near the same people who just ruled the different regions. So they're related to each other. But who were the Chaldeans? They were from Japheth. So what are Semitic features? Semitic features are not Shemitic features. They wish. Japheth shall be enlarged and dwell in the booths of Shem. I hope now this makes sense. The Tocharians in Asia and in India. Right? The Danaan in Western Europe. The Akkadians, Babylonia, and the Chaldeans, all in the Americas. Japheth shall be enlarged and dwell in the booths of Shem. Now look at this. Like the Olmecs, the earliest known settlers of Monte Alban had an hieroglyphic system of writing, a calendar, and a mathematical system of computing by bar and dot. These settlers left some extraordinary Cyclopean rocks built into buildings which portray life-size Negroid dancers with flat noses, round faces, and thick lips. You can hear the prejudice coming out in the reading. Alongside them are Old Testament types. Now look at this. Old Testament types. Like they're trying to be the people of the Old Testament. That's really what it comes down to. Old Testament types with hooked noses and speculate beards, all very un-Indian like. So they're saying that, the Negroes, those are Hamites. The Indians, those are Asians. But we are the Shemites or the Semites. And that's what it means to be a Semite. To be a Semite is to be a Japhethite or any other nations that are associated with them. That's what it means to have a quote-unquote Semitic phenotype. Now let's get into this real quick before we get back to the video. Can't believe I almost forgot this stuff, man. The bro Wakande shared this with me a while ago. I'm just not getting to it. I just had it locked and loaded for the right time. Come on, man. Alright. We don't have to look far for such a list. Both the Egyptians and the Babylonians had lists of 10 Anti-Diluvian kings. So you had the biblical patriarchs: Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. And then you have all these Egyptian quote-unquote gods, and then you have the Chaldean gods. Now, of course, if the Chaldeans are from Japheth, then they share a lineage up until Noah. So it would be natural that they would share the same patriarchs. Whereas Noah is the hero of the biblical flood story, this person, Zesuthros, is the celebrated survivor of the similar Chaldean account. Upon comparing the list of the prehistoric Chaldean kings with the pre-flood patriarchs, we find a fascinating parallel that again supports our basic premise. The name of the third king, Al-Milon, which means a man. The name of the third patriarch is Enos, which means mortal, weak mankind. The fourth name on the Chaldean list, Aminon, means craftsman. Canaan, the name of the fourth Sethite patriarch, also means a craftsman. Wow. Adoricus, the seventh Babylonian king listed, has a connotation, bearer of divine revelations, he to whom the secrets of heaven and earth are revealed. Enoch, his biblical counterpart, has a name meaning almost the same thing. You get it, bro? The children of Japheth, the Chaldeans, the Carrions, the giants, the blonde-head, blue-eyed peoples. And them, along with Canaan and the other nations that were involved, were known as the Canaanites, who we cleared off these lands. And we've been at war with these same people this whole time. These same giants that invaded us in South America. They came back to settle the score. Right? Let's continue.
Some of them came dressed in animal skins, while others were in their natural clothes, and that they did not bring women with them.
When the giants landed at Santa Elena, they built massive houses dug extremely deep wells. The infamous houses of the giants were still standing.
Even though it is beach, the natives once giants here, and the natives say that they don't know from whence they came. Their houses were 3 leagues below the Inklings, being brought on rafts to be incorporated into a building that the Indians say, according to the tradition
of their ancestors, that the giants did not have women, and not willing to wait for what was natural, were given over to sodomy, for which God punished them by sending fire from heaven, and so destroyed all of them. This kind of notorious vice has no other remedy. So that was gayness on an astronomical level. I know I said that in the last time I covered this video, but that's the only thing I could think of, because that's disgusting. These large men or giants, having established their settlement and constructed these wells or cisterns from which they drank, they destroyed and devoured all of the sustenance they could find in that region. So they ate a bunch of food. Now this sounds very similar to the Nephilim account, and maybe it is. Or maybe this is the Chaldeans. I don't know, but they're damn near the same people. Because you can make a Nephilim. It seems that Nimrod made himself into a giant. Because people wonder, well, how is Nimrod a giant? They destroyed all the giants. Unless he became one after. The natives lived in great loathing of them, the giants, because they killed their women by using them for intercourse and for other reasons. And the Indians were not strong enough to kill these new people, for they had come to occupy their land and lord over them, even though they had great meetings to discuss them, but they did not dare attack them. So that's why it was so important that we killed the Canaanites off the land. And a lot of these super over-righteous brothers that keep saying vengeance is the Lord, whenever people talk about how we are going to be the ones that destroy the other nations, it's the same thing. You're not thinking about all the people who they're terrorizing. Right? You're not thinking about them. You're thinking about yourself and trying to be over-righteous, be too righteous. We are the Most High sword. It says that in the scriptures. We are the instruments that he uses to punish others. And because you want to be Mr. Righteous, Mr. Christian, now you don't want to cast judgment. Righteous judgment. That doesn't make any sense. We're going to destroy the other nations. It's that simple. If you don't like it, then you can sit on the side. But I want this world to experience justice. It has nothing to do with revenge or anything of the sort. But justice needs to be done. Wickedness needs to be scraped or swept off this land. And swept off all the lands eventually. But they were doing this for years. It even says in the Bible that the sins of the Amorites has to come to a full. And with all the connections with the Amorites and the giants of Asia,